using the Samsung Galaxy S2 in 2024 and beyond. Is this phone still worth it, 13 years later? Let's find out. The Samsung Galaxy S2 is the successor to the original Samsung Galaxy S smartphone, released in mid-2010. The S2 features a larger camera, a slightly bigger screen, and overall, better specifications than its predecessor, but this phone is very old now, and what was groundbreaking for 2011, is now very nostalgic and retro, and outdated, so this phone won't be good for modern tasks. But if you want to play some retro games, or just do very simple and basic tasks, I reckon one of these is perfect, and if it can still connect to 3G and 2G networks in your region, that's a bonus. I picked this bad boy up for about $25 Australian on eBay, and the phone is in great condition, considering it's pre-owned, and has had lots of use. Funnily enough, this phone has not been factory reset, so some of the original owner's stuff is still on here. The Galaxy S2 features Android 2.3.6 Gingerbread, but is theoretically able to be upgraded to Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean. However, when I tried to update the device, it said I needed to register a Google account, and Google has apparently killed off the ability to sign in on Android devices running Android 2.3 or lower, so I guess I will be stuck with Android Gingerbread, though I love the touch of nostalgia Gingerbread gives me. The Galaxy S2 also uses Samsung's proprietary interface, TouchWiz, specifically, TouchWiz 3.0, or 4.0, and while many hated TouchWiz for being proprietary and rather bloated, I think it's the best skin I have ever seen on Androids. It's nicer than the stock skin in my opinion, but each to their own I guess. The Galaxy S2 rocks a single gigabyte of RAM, and 16 gigabytes of internal storage, with expandable storage up to 32 gigabytes, and just like the Galaxy S3, I tried several old mobile games on this bad boy, including Hill Climb Racing, Angry Birds, Temple Run, and Asphalt. All of these play well. Even more demanding titles like Asphalt 5 and Asphalt 6 Adrenaline were not breaking a sweat on the Galaxy S2, which really impresses me, considering the specifications of this device. The Galaxy S2 is only capable of connecting to 2G and 3G networks, so if you live in an area where either of these network generations are being phased out, or have been phased out, then it's probably worth giving this phone a pass, but if you want a great device for retro gaming, or perhaps a very cheap MP3 player, then the Galaxy S2 is without a doubt worth every cent, and I only paid $25 for this bad boy. I have seen other S2s that sell for around $50 or more, which is crazy, considering the phone's age, specifications, and limited use cases. The only area this phone really falls short is web browsing. I tried finding a modern browser that supports Android 2.3.6, and the only browsers are Opera Mini, and the UC browser, neither of which really worked on the S2, as I had to download old versions, which were several years behind the latest version, and this can affect the browser's ability to load sites correctly. UC was not loading anything aside from the Google homepage, so web browsing, aside from Googling, is completely out of the question. You would need to either flash a custom ROM of a newer version of Android, or upgrade this device to Android Jelly Bean, and install UC Browser Turbo, as that is the most modern browser which still supports legacy Android systems above Gingerbread. The camera on the S2 is a major improvement from the S1, since it now has an LED flashlight, but the camera is larger as well. However, the front camera retains the terrible VGA quality camera the Galaxy S1 had started off with, but the rear camera is actually surprisingly good for low light shots with the flashlight. Photos without the flashlight look good too, but I would say that most modern phones are far better in this area, but if my life depended on the Galaxy S2's camera, I could definitely get by with it. And with all that out of the way, it's now time to answer, should you still buy a Samsung Galaxy S2 in 2024 and beyond? In most cases, I would say no, but if you need a backup phone or spare phone, or you want to try flashing a custom ROM, or go full retro and play tons of older mobile games, then I would say that a cheap old phone like this is great, and if it can still connect to 2G and 3G networks in your area, you can still use this device to make and receive calls and texts. But even if you live in an area where the older generation networks are gone, this device can still be great for many other things. Perfect use cases for this old phone include using it as a camera, playing retro games, both mobile and console, using it as a security camera, covered microphone, or baby monitoring device. And if you want a very cheap MP3 player, this device is perfect. Couple it with a CD boombox or Bluetooth speaker, and you will be partying all night. The Galaxy S2 blows my mind away. I did not think that such an old device with such an outdated OS could still provide use cases in the modern day, but the reason I am buying these older phones is because I also want to start my own e-waste series, and I want to save these perfectly functional devices from going to landfill. They are very cheap and affordable as well. So if you're on an extremely tight budget but you need a basic but good phone, a Galaxy S2 might be the perfect bet, but there are plenty of cheaper newer devices too. But if you want to start a phone collection, or you want to do some retro mobile gaming, there's no reason why you shouldn't buy a Galaxy S2 today. But in most cases, I would say there are far better options on the market today. Remember, it all comes down to your use case, and how much power you need. The other reason I got these older phones is because some of the older games are not playable on modern Android versions, so it comes in extremely handy when I need to run older versions of Android apps and games. Anyway, I have to get in my red hill climber, as I am going to climb the countryside hills of hill climb racing, so I will see you in the next video. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye for now.